Hello, a very good morning, my dear students. This is your loving English teacher Rohit sir giving you today's lecture video class on the topic of the story from your supplementary Vestas book, Like on the Face of It, written by the authoress Susan Hill, who tells about the characters, that is, Mr. Lamb and Derry. Both are physically disabled. One is from the leg and the other is from the face. So, we have many things to see today's class as headlines, like knowing about the author, introduction of the story, and the summary of the story with full description. As the number of COVID-19 cases is rising fast in several parts of the country, we appeal to the listeners to be vigilant and to get fully vaccinated and help others, including children between 15 to 18 years, get vaccinated with the new Omicron variant of coronavirus. Causing concern, please continue to follow these three simple steps to stay safe. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 गज की दूरी for social distancing, focus on hands and face hygiene. For any COVID related discussion or information as guidance, contact national helpline numbers 011 23978046 or 1075. And now the class in detail. About the author, we can see the image of the author like Susan Hill, who is an English author of fiction and non-fiction works. For her novels include The Woman in Black, The Mist in the Mirror, and I Am the King of the Castle, for which she received the Somerset Maugham Award in 1971. These all is about the author to be known. Next, the introduction. Introduction of the story, like on the face of it. The story is about a teenage boy, Derry, who has a burnt face, and Mr. Lamb, who is a disabled old man with an artificial leg made of tin. Derry accidentally enters his garden so that he can hide from people who hate him because of his ugly face. Mr. Lamb not only welcomes him in his garden, but also encourages him to lead a normal life, leaving behind his past. So, here the character, as first, like Derry, who is 14-year old, was burnt his face, and the another character is Mr. Lamb, a disabled old man with an artificial leg made of tin. So both the characters are physically challenged and they are cooperating to their lives. But Derry accidentally enters his garden and met Mr. Lamb. So Mr. Lamb was happy to welcome him, along with encourages him to come anytime into his garden. On the face of it, as summary, the story begins with a teenage boy entering a garden. His face is burnt on one side due to an accident when acid fell on half of his face. He has gone there to hide as he's afraid of facing people. He fears being teased by others for having such a face. But when he enters, he finds someone already present there. He tries to leave the place, but he is stopped by the old man, Mr. Lamb, the owner of the garden. Derry feels guilty for entering the garden without permission. Mr. Lamb welcomes him and tells him not to leave just because of his presence. Terry wants to leave as he thinks people don't like his face and moreover they get afraid of his looks. But Mr. Lamb insists he stay there. Okay, so when he enters into the garden, Mr. Lamb was already present there, and when he was caught by Mr. Lamb, he is telling the reason why he daily comes there. As reason, Mr. Lamb comes to know that Dairy has a face with half burnt, so he wants to be hidden from the people, those who come there, and he does not want to be in front of them so that they would make fun of him. That is the reason Derry daily comes stillily to the garden and goes back from there. They enter into a conversation that how Derry is not liked by anyone and how he hates people behaving like this with him. Mr. Lamb tries to console him. He tells him that he has a teen leg and kids make fun of him. Still, he is not depressed and enjoys his life. They both talk about various things, and this leads to the revelation of Derry's fear, depression, and hatred about his being in such a condition. But Mr. Lamb keeps on telling him to think of the positive things. Soon they become friends, and Mr. Lamb asks him to help him in plucking the crab apples of his garden. Derry tells him that he had come too far from his home and hadn't told anything about this to his mother. Mr. Lamb tells him to take permission from his mother. Derry finds it difficult, and this leads to a small quarrel between both of them. At last, Derry tells him that he would come back after taking his mother's permission. His mother doesn't want him to go back, but he comes back again to fulfill his promise. Meanwhile, Mr. Lamb climbs the ladder on his own to pluck the crab apples. As he was sure that Derry would not return, he was disabled and it was difficult for him to climb. So, from here, when Derry told everything to Mr. Lamb, that the reason he came stillily that day into the garden. After that, they were in a deep conversation. In the conversation, Derry comes to know that Mr. Lamb is also having a disabled problem, and that is he has a artificial leg made of tin. Okay, but still Mr. Lamb is happy in his life. He sees everything positively and he spreads happiness to others. Like this, Mr. Lamb encourages Derry that Derry should behave like Mr. Lamb and think always positive, whatever the situation comes into his life. Okay, so after the discussion, they were in quarrel, and in the quarrel, Derry comes to know the reality of his life from the disabled person like Mr. Lamb, and Mr. Lamb was ready to go and pluck the other crab apples, spoiled apples from the tree. So that's why he was not waiting for anyone and goes ahead to pluck them out. And he asked that maybe Daddy would not come because uh, he didn't get any permission from his mother, and his mother would not give him any permission. For that, Daddy would not come again to his garden. But Derry proved that he would come again anyhow. So, like this, Mr. Lamb goes to pluck the crab apples from the tree by climbing up. Okay. Next, Mr. Lamb falls from his ladder and dies. Derry, on the other hand, returns to the garden to help him. So, when he falls down from the ladder and dies, it is expected that he is died because he was not giving any response or showing any sense. So, in the story, it is shown like he is died. But whether he is died or alive, it is still not clear. It is clear in the next part of the story, but in the syllabus we have this much. So we come to know that Mr. Lamb is died. Okay. So on the other hand, Daddy returns to the garden to help him. When he enters the garden, he sees Mr. Lamb lying on the ground. Jerry tries hard to make him move but did not get any response from him. Finally, he comes to know that he is dead and starts crying. So, when he was making Mr. Lamb woke again and again, and Mr. Lamb didn't give any response, so Derry thought that Mr. Lamb was died. Even he was not any response. He was not any response by given activities. So he was crying. He thinks Mr. Lamb is dead. So here the story ends. Okay. So from here we come to get this all thing, and this much is enough for the story. Then the students, we have this much for today's class. Hope you could get the story easy and there would be no issue regarding it. Till then, keep practicing and keep learning. Thank you.